Welcome to the Thresher Football Show, the first episode of the 2024 season. I'm Dan Page, alongside interim head coach at Bethel College Football, Daylon Markham, as Bethel gets set to take on Sterling in the Week 0 matchup in conference play. But a lot has to happen before then, and this guy knows all about that. It's been a whirlwind of the last couple months or so. And Coach Markham has stepped into the head coaching shoes of A.B. Stokes, and we salute Coach Stokes and his decision and everything that's going on with his life. And really just, Daylon, what was your initial reaction to being named the interim coach?
I mean, at first I was pretty nervous. I didn't think I was ready, but then I had the support of Tim and the president and everybody on the staff, and then just kind of help me gain confidence week by week, day by day. And I've been enjoying it ever since. So I'm happy they took the chance on me, and I'm just ready to show what we can do on this weekend. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and no doubt, some returning players that have been with you. Some you personally even recruited way back when they were freshmen and things like that. I'm sure they were glad that you came back for the ride.
Yeah, they were with me the whole time, and then they were ready to go all out for me this last season. So I'm just ready for them to ball out and have fun and do great things.
Absolutely. Well, you have one familiar face to help you on the coaching sidelines, and he may not even be on the sidelines sometimes. He might be in the press box, and that's offensive coordinator Denton Hudspeth. And between you two guys, I mean, I'm looking around. I know Cade Miller, I know Grant Gotze, I know J-Rock, and then we got all these new guys in the house. And, man, I remember walking to your office here right before camp, and I was like, okay. A
lot of new faces, and then it's been good for us, though. Absolutely.
Well, I guess we can go through all those guys, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on anything that I've seen. But Coach Cook came in the spring, correct?
Yep, he's coaching running backs.
Yep, and he did. Coach Stokes was talking about how beneficial he was, not just coming in with that knowledge, but also in the recruiting category coming from Colorado.
Oh yeah, he can recruit his butt off. I think he brought in like 20 some odd plus freshmen, so he's very, very valuable. I love everything he does on and off the field. So he's great. He's a great person. So
yeah, absolutely. And it's been interesting to see some of you guys mingle and camp and practice and things like that. So you kind of see. What is at the gut of a person when you get to the game time. So, and that'll be interesting. I guess we'll stay on the offensive side of the football, and a new quarterbacks coach, Coach Cagle, went and started his own passing academy, and that just took off.
Yeah, it really did.
But tell the folks about the new quarterbacks coach.
Yeah, so Coach Chris Rowe, he coached at Bethel College, Bethel, Tennessee. Actually, not Bethel College, but Bethel, Tennessee. And then he was a quarterbacks coach, and then he was the run game coordinator there. And then this past season, he was at Iowa Northern, I believe, at D3 somewhere over there. And then his wife actually got transferred to Kansas hospital out there, the big hospital in Wichita.
Okay, yeah.
And randomly he emailed me like, "Hey, Coach, I just moved out here. I coach this, and that, and then if you have a spot, let me know." And then randomly, Coach Cagle let us know, like, man, he's thinking about going to 8-man head coaching, to be head coach 8-man, and then it's just all the cards played itself out. Now he's here, so we're lucky to have him. I think he's been a great asset for us. Like him and Coach Denton, they're in the office all the time, drawing up plays, talking back and forth. So kudos to them too. So they're putting in that work, and then just excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he skipped a beat, just from like day one into camp, and then just looking at practice this last week. He's just taken and run with it, and really done a great job. And it's funny, I was telling, if you look at film from last year about this and this and this, and between he and Coach Chaz Wright, they're like, we already looked at it. Yeah, they know the things that need to be improved on, and it's interesting interesting. Coach Kisro also, I think he played at TMP, or not TMP Marion, but Marion in Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah, he was there, and he actually got injured his first year, so he'd really been coaching since his sophomore year in college. So he's been around the game and around the coaching lifestyle for a minute. So he's been a big addition and big help this fall camp. So
absolutely. Well, I mean, we'll stay with offense and talk about a guy who played college football.
Yeah.
Your offensive line coach, Chaz Wright, and who played at Penn State on the offensive line. And the rumor is he blocked for Saquon Barkley. Is that true?
Yes, he was there for all the Saquon Barkley's highlights and all the glory days back in the day. So he doesn't talk about it much. He hates to bring it up, but we pry out of him. He talks about it a little bit, so he's a little shy about it. I don't know why. I'd be bragging if I was me.
Oh, yeah. Well, Coach Franklin, who was the coach at Penn State, he spent some time at K-State probably 10 years ago now, from what I remember. But, yeah, I mean, he had some Kansas connections. But how did, Chaz get in the door here?
Really just we posted a job online for O-line coach on Football Scoop. We had a couple of applicants, and then he just really stood out. And then Coach Stokes and that's the coach that interviewed him. And then he just stood out, and then he came in. And we met him in July for a week or so. We kind of hung out with us and kind of just said how he felt with the staff. And then ever since then, he's been great. Like the O-line stepped up big time this fall camp. They've been looking way better than the past. So I'm excited to see what they can do. So
yeah, a lot of eyes on the offensive line for the Threshers. You got three really good returners, and then some guys that are looking for that first opportunity. They've been waiting in the wings for a couple of years, and now is their time. So We'll talk about that in a little bit. But sticking with offense, you got Coach Tiz at receivers.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about him for the folks that don't necessarily know.
Yeah, so Coach Tiz, he played at Southern Nass for maybe 4 or 5 years. Man, he had a great career there, I believe, and then he just came here. Really got hired on in late 1st of August, so he fairly new. He came in and just adapted to the playbook, learned the plays, and we got a couple new transfer receivers. So it's really like a brand new room overall. So really a lot of new faces in that room, and they just learning and getting better each and every day. And they get working our corners a little bit here and there, they're going back and forth. But man, they're a great group. They're really bought into the program, and they're really good people just overall too. Yeah,
I mean, it really helps, when you got guys that maybe even recently played the game and, stepping into these coaching positions. You got 3 former Thresher players, on the staff as well. Also, Coach Cam. I always forget, man. He's becoming a little bit of an old head.
Yeah,
now.
He is. He's silent but deadly for sure. He's silent. He didn't really talk much, but man, He's fiery. He's fiery coach for sure. So
yeah. Well, we have one other new coach on defense, but we'll get to the defense in a little bit. But yeah, you got Coach Cam Harrison coaching slots, who was an All-American here at Bethel College. For those of you that don't know, and he was he could catch out of the backfield really well, and so a perfect guy for that. And then Jared Foster kind of helping out with H-backs, right, and all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the coaching group on the offensive side of the football. On defense, I hear that you're still doing that somewhat.
Yeah, that's my baby. I can't let it go right just now. So
yeah. But obviously there's turnover in the coaching staff. You have people leave, and one actually, your former defensive coordinator Braden Schultz is now at Sterling.
Yeah.
With former Bethel offensive coordinator turned Sterling offensive coordinator turned Sterling head coach now, and Coach Langford. So
it's a carousel.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking about something. I'll complete that thought in a second. But you there and Mike Gant, who played with you at Harding University.
Yep.
A lot of guys love him right off the bat. It brings the energy. I mean, the D line.
Definitely.
I mean, it just seems the same. Whoever's been coaching the D line, that tradition is going well.
Yeah, we have a lot of old guys, a lot of guys that played life football for us down there. So, man, they love Coach Mike. Man, Aaron was thinking about not playing this 5th year. He was thinking about just kind of helping out coaching, and he was around Coach Mike practicing maybe 2 or 3 days. He called his people. Was like, man, Mom, I think I want to play. Like, they got a great D-line coach. Blah blah blah, man. And ever since then, it's been full steam ahead with Coach Mike and Reese and them boys down there. Man, they getting better each and every day. I'm just you can just tell that you'll see the difference on Saturdays between this past couple of years and what Coach Mike's been able to get them boys right. So
Absolutely. And then in the linebacking core, are you still doing some linebacker DB type stuff, or?
Yeah, I'm mostly just DBs right now.
Okay. So you got Cade Miller coaching linebackers, a guy that just graduated and was a 5-year starter at linebacker for the Threshers. Got that extra COVID year, and of course had a phenomenal last season. And coaching up some of his old teammates, is interesting. But he didn't. It really just seemed like he didn't skip a beat either. First practice, first camp. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, it's been smooth with all the new guys. They really just stepped in, and it's really just stepped up because first year head coach, interim, whatever you want to say, but we just all kind of came together as a group and just went to work. It was just went to work, and then kind of feel like the best kind of fall camp we had in the past couple of years. So we just all got tight with a group of guys, group of coaches. So we're just ready to go, ready to roll this weekend.
Absolutely. And then Grant Godsey, who played for the Threshers last season in the secondary, he's helping out as well for your defensive backfield, and a very important spot for your defense in the secondary. So a guy that can definitely tell a few things, and definitely when you play against maybe even some of the teams that these players are going to play against, and personnel-wise, tendencies and things like that. So that pays off.
It really does. So he's been good too. He helps when they play, like him and Coach K. They know a little secret sauces that I didn't know really when I played. So they get a little insight on the game. It's kind of been helpful for everybody all around. So.
Yeah, and those guys, and forgive me if I didn't mention all of them, but man, those two between Cade and Grant, I mean, it's been a heck of a story following them the last 6 years from beginning in college to now, and it's really cool to see that kind of moment where everybody becomes men and you kind of just evolve like that. So
yeah, especially I think I coached Cade 3 years. I coached both of them 3 years, so it's crazy to see how much they've just grown in the past 3 years. From the sophomores and juniors till now, it's just been amazing to see.
Absolutely. So that kind of rounds out the coaching staff for the Threshers here in 2024, and like we said, a lot of new faces. It never there's been so much turnover. I thought this is the thing I was going to tie back to. I said, we've had more coaching changes in the last 3 years probably than any other team in the conference.
Man,
and not just head coaching, but just like personnel, like different position groups, everything. I mean, between you and Denton, you guys have been the only really the constants, I guess you could say.
It's crazy. It's been a carousel around here, but that's what makes Bethel Bethel. It makes what it is. It's special around here, so I enjoy it. I don't imagine myself leaving anytime soon, so we'll see what happens. So
yeah, and you got a special group coming into this season, and a lot of good senior leaders. Coming back for their last years. There's some stuff that happened, off the field and things like that with players leaving and stuff. And, whenever you have a coaching change, it kind of, we'll see what happens, kind of a thing. But they definitely dissatisfied with last year's 6-5 record and looking to turn things around and get back on the right foot. For many years in this program, it was just getting to a winning season period.
Yeah.
But these guys know what the expectation is, and definitely there were moments where last year where the game could go 50-50 and they just went the other way. So
yeah, definitely.
And so, preseason picked fourth in the division, and over team, behind Southwestern, behind Friends University, behind Evangel. I mean, it's been a tough division these first 2 years, no doubt. I mean, Evangel kind of made last year's schedule look like mincemeat for the most part, maybe outside of 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, they were pretty good. I surprised a lot of teams, and I think we'll adjust to them this year, and hopefully we can make them get that first loss in the KCAC. So we'll see how it goes this year.
It came down to the wire last year, that's for sure.
It did.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we'll go ahead and talk about some of the preseason things outside of the divisional picks. You guys had a few conference or divisional accolades. I got to get used to the whole division thing.
Yeah,
and
it's different.
It's interesting because after this season, it changes again.
Yeah.
So completely changes. But you guys had some all-conference recognized players. No doubt Trayvon Madison, first team all-conference at, receiver, utility guy, special teams.
Everything really, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question in my mind people are going to target him this season.
Most definitely, especially after last year. So.
Yeah, but I mean, people thought that last year too, and that was the thing because the season before that, DJ Sears, quarterback returning for his senior year now, they found that connection, and once they did, he just took it and ran with it.
Yeah, for real.
For the most part. But, Trayvon Madison, he can make Pac-Man look lazy sometimes.
Yes.
Just the way he finds the openings, namely against Kansas Wesleyan last year when he had that return for touchdown. But a great feature to have him back for another year. And then also for the Threshers, on offense, Logan Birch, well recognized deservedly.
Yeah.
The guy that has been a 4-year starter for this program, and we're certainly glad he has this last year available to him.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's really grown as a player, a Burleson, Texas native, and a senior that really has just seen a lot of things and adapted just as good as anybody else.
Yeah, came in as a triple option, flexible on offensive lineman, transfer. The tackle has been good. He's been great at it. I think he's one of those guys that kind of just flies underneath the radar, just does everything right. Doesn't get caught for penalties that much. So just one of those guys that just does everything right for us, and then we know we can rely on him this season. So hope he has a great season for us.
Absolutely. Wish him all the health with all the players' health for that matter.
Yeah, knock on wood, knock on wood.
But turning to the defensive side of things, big Ernest Ferrier. You just talked about him making that decision. Well, he just walks in, preseason all-division player on the defensive line, playing in his 5th season, and that regard. And then Tate Siebold, getting that conference recognition as well, and playing in his final college campaign. And everybody, how about the pressure that he's probably felt the last couple of years to fill in his brother's shoes? But man, he's done a great job of just being himself. Yeah,
for real. Yeah, he's not his brother. He's a little bit better, I think, in my eyes. So we'll see. We'll see how this last year goes. But man, I'm just excited for both of those guys, especially Tate and Ern the last year playing football. So they've been putting that work in this fall camp in the summer. So I'm excited to see how that work pays off for them. So.
Absolutely. And those are pretty much it for the Threshers, those 4. And, a lot of different faces in the conference that are easily recognizable. But, kind of an interesting factor that maybe it puts a chip on his shoulder, and DJ Sears maybe not getting a nod there in his senior season. The only quarterback in the NAIA to rush and throw for 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah,
if we haven't seen him be superhuman yet, there's motivation this season, no doubt.
Definitely, yeah. He saw that and kind of had a little chip on his shoulder at practice. So he definitely saw that and took it to heart a little bit. So I'm ready to see what he can do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he returns for the Threshers. There's so many guys that return, but he's like the lone guy in the backfield.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It opens up the door for so many guys to step forward, and you don't have to mention them if you don't feel comfortable doing so. But I mean, the weight does kind of shift to his shoulders. I mean, that's especially last year, just his ability to turn something, nothing into something. I'm thinking about the St. Mary game last year where it's a pass play and it's busted and he just takes off 66 yards for the touchdown.
Yeah.
You didn't think that was possible.
No, can't get enough of that. I love when he does that. It just makes the life a whole lot easier when you just see him run down the sideline, get a touchdown. So those long runs, we love seeing them. So I hope we should see him a lot this season too. So
yeah, it's crazy that he's playing his last season in a Thresher uniform because it feels like just yesterday he started.
Yeah, for real.
It just flies by. And yeah, I was going through footage the other day. I was like, oh, here's DJ freshman season against West Texas A&M. Juking some D2 players. So
yeah, for real.
We knew he was special from the start. I remember that first camp with him, and he was turning heads right and left.
Yeah, he was. He was making the throws, running all over the place. He definitely caught some eyes. So
yeah, that's for certain. So he's amongst the guys, and then you look at some of the other guys on offense. We mentioned Trayvon Madison on the offensive line. You got Kanan Wade, Ben Rudine, and then Jess Hancock getting an opportunity to step forward, and then kind of filling, who's going to fill that last spot on the offensive line? Well, that was the question kind of coming in. And, I mean, I specifically mentioned underneath my breath in camp to Coach Wright, Tabor game last year, to look at from last season, just to see, okay, what does chaos look like and how do you adapt to that on the offensive line?
Yeah.
But no doubt in my mind, he's got the experience. He knows what it takes. I mean, it's probably different for him coaching at this level, per se. And but no doubt, I know his guys want to work really hard for him.
Oh yeah, they put in the work for him, and they listen to him and whatever he says. So they really just take coaching well. He gets on him a little bit here and there, but man, he's all positive and just tells them what to get better, and they've been getting better every day. So.
And you can't miss him on the sideline, Coach Wright.
No, you cannot. About 6'7", big, tall guy. So he'll tower over everybody on the sideline. So
yeah, that's for certain. And then kind of switching over to defense. I mean, there's so many guys that you see recognizable. You have Earn, you have Reese, you have a few others as well that have just waited in the wings. You have Frank, you have Colton McCarty, guys like that, and just the guys. Colton is a big guy that everybody really just close to the program is probably looking to see have a good year this year.
No, definitely gonna need it for sure. We're gonna need it.
And it's not like he's gonna be like a rotational guy. He's gonna come in and make an impact early.
Yeah, he's one of the starting D linemen, start D end. So we're hoping he has a great season. He's been Coach Mike got him right. He had a great summer, so great fall camp. We're just ready to see what he can do for us in the starting position. He played a little bit last year here and there. Kind of had some moments for us, so we're just excited to see what he can do in the full game setting.
Absolutely. And looking at the linebacking core for you guys, you mentioned Tate. You have guys like Noah Miller, who he was here back in 2019. He and Cody Baxter both. I remember they were freshmen back then, but they still got the eligibility. But Noah's getting a big opportunity at linebacker this year. He's going to be in alongside Tate, and then you got Jared Goff. A team favorite by all means.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And if there was one guy we would want to mic up at practice, it'd probably be Jared Goff.
James Goff. Man.
Oh, it's James Goff.
Yeah, but man. He's full of energy, yelling all the time, screaming, just having fun, having a blast, running around, striking people. So that's what he does best, and that's what we love about him. So.
Yeah, and I just remember, just everybody commenting last year when he recovered that muff punt at Avila at the 1 yard line. They're like, that was a touchdown, and then all you just see in all caps is Goff.
Yeah. If anybody deserves a touchdown, it's James Goff for sure. They got him on that touchdown, so we got to get him one this year.
And so I mean, that's exciting to see in the linebacking core, and then in the DBs, you got really just two guys that have been here a while. You got Robin Neely and Roderick Edwards, not to mention guys that were here last year that are looking to get into that, and join them in the secondary and make an impact here early on in their careers. But Rob and Rod, those two guys,
twins, we call them twins, the two stooges. I like to call them the two stooges of the DB room. So
they're kind of tighter with you than anybody, right?
Yeah, those are my guys right there. So I recruited Robin. And then they are from the same. I recruited Roderick actually. So then him and Rod, DJ, they all came together from the same high school. So they my guys. I've been around them for 4 years now. So they my boys. That's all I can really say. Like I think my little brother sometimes. So I gotta remind them, hey, I'm still y'all coach. Y'all can't be saying all that stuff to me. But they my guys for sure. They come to me. We talk about anything and everything. So.
Yeah, and thinking about another guy from there, he's a little bit younger than them, but a guy that, you correct me if I'm wrong, ran one of the fastest 40s in the program, and another Sears, Josh,
little bro Sears, yeah. So we're excited. He's gonna be the other corner alongside Rod this year. Man, he came in the spring. He took off. And then we told him in the summer, you got to get bigger and kind of get faster. So he took that to heart. And, man, he surprised everybody when he showed up and ran a 4.4 40. So we're just excited for him. So we're just, I don't know, he's going to be the guy this year, I think. He's going to be one of the best corners in the conference, in the conference or division, what do you want to call it. But he's going to be ready to take that role and just lock up one half of the field. So
yeah, certainly. Yeah, and that kind of covers it on both sides of the football for the most part. If I miss anything, tell me, because I mean, there's just
I would say we do have two more former players. We got Braden Botterwick. He played. He's coaching with us. He's running out kind of our strength program and coaching receivers and tight ends kind of too. And then we got Grant Haas. assistant D-line. And then we got Felicia Teeter. She's kind of like an analyst. She helps out with the D-line, linebacker, stuff like that. So that rounds up. We got 3 more additional coaches. So it seems like a lot of coaches, but, man, we do a great job. And we just have fun every day with each other. So it's been a blast. So
yeah, I mean, it never ends. I think I saw Darby McCord there for a while as well.
Yeah, forgot about Coach Darby. Yeah, he's coaching linebackers too. So, man, we got a number of coaches over there. It's just been a great time with everybody. So just gelling and getting to meet new people. So it's been. I forgot about Darby. That's funny.
I mean, it's like if they got the time, come on.
Yeah, for real. If you want to help, come on. Let me know.
Yeah, I mean, that's never a bad problem to have for the most part. But yeah, I think. I looked at your players' gear this year, and the shorts keep getting shorter and shorter, and I blame Coach Botterweck for that because he likes those 5-inch inseam shorts. It's just like if you're wearing boxers,
I don't like.
You shouldn't.
The shorts this year, they're shorter. If you wash them, they shrink on you. It's terrible. I can't even wear them no more. I don't like my shorts that high. I can't wear them.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I mean, when you get to like, okay, at some point in your life, you just want the comfort.
Yeah, I want the comfort. Yeah, for real. They too tight. They too short. I don't want them. I want my shorts to cover my knee. Go at least to my knee. That's me being old, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he was one of my students once upon a time when I taught at the high school, and I would always tell him, I was like, man, I would show him like Kobe shorts, back in the day.
Yeah.
It's so. It was really, really neat. But got a little sidetracked there, but kind of shifting over to special teams side of the football. I'm sure people that have not really been around the program this fall so far are thinking, question marks across the board. You lose so many guys to whether transfer or other circumstances. But obviously outside of Trayvon Madison in the return game, as far as kicking and punting, long snap and holding and stuff like that, who's the guys that are going to step into those shoes?
So we got a freshman. He's from San Antonio, Mateo. He's a kicker / punter. So he's been working. He's been kicking nonstop at practice, trying to work on his craft. And our long snapper, we got Josh Cohen from Heston, a local guy. He's gonna be the long snapper. And then Ethan Cook, one of the backup quarterbacks, probably gonna be the holder. So yeah, we've been putting work on that. And, we're on that every day. So they've been doing good. Hopefully they don't get too nervous. It's going to be on the first game this weekend, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to be as polished as you can be, and there's some big shoes to fill. Even when circumstances kind of went one way heavy or one way, another way bad, maybe heavy. At least one game at last year.
Yeah, I can name a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, you go from your longest field goal kick in program history to the Ottawa game with the bad snap. You kind of
up and down game for sure.
But yeah, obviously that consistency. I mean, I'm sure that's something that's really important to you guys. I mean, that's something you can't overlook.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, special teams, man, it can win games and I can also lose games. So it's really can't overlook that aspect of the game for sure.
Well, I mean, a field position is so important to the game, and that special teams plays a huge part in that.
Definitely.
And I know you as a game manager, whether people just don't know that or not. I've been on the sidelines when you're there, and you're talking to other coaches in the past, whether it was Coach Stokes or somebody else, and giving your input. And I've seen you kind of your impressions of managing the game, and there's been people on the outside looking in saying we should have taken a timeout here, or we should have kicked a field goal here instead of there was times where I don't know if we took a timeout in a single game one time.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, that is true.
And that's not a criticism. That's just a different coaching style.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if anything, without giving too much away, what is that for you? What does that look like?
Man, it's just really just the game feel. And we have a Coach Cook. When he's experienced, I guess you can say he's the oldest coach on the staff. Our average age is probably under 30 on the staff. So he came up to me like, "Hey, Coach, if you need help game management, just let me know. I've been coaching for 30+ odd years, so I can help you with that if you need to." So it's really just kind of just how the game flows, in my opinion. That's how you got to manage the game. Like, something bad happens, call timeout. Like you got to get the game, regroup and stuff. So just really just how the flow of the game goes, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many times, the offense from your eyes is going no huddle, and you need to do something to, stop them moving the ball down the field.
Yeah.
And that timeout can be really important in those situations if you have it. I mean,
yeah, true.
That's the pivotal decision maker there. But obviously, I mean, when you look at some of the things, and again, these are not criticisms. These are just things that really were big moments of improvement, because I know Coach Stokes was very big on discipline last year and the year before, but the disciplinary penalties, that was a thing, and whether it was personnel involved in influencing that for the players or whatnot, but that, you guys at one point were probably one of the most penalized teams in the country.
Yeah.
And so I guess, how do you combat that from your side?
Really just got to emphasize it in practice a little bit, and then just kind of, it's really hard because everybody they playing hard, right? But they just got to know when to stop. I feel like they just got to have there's like a timer in your head you got to go off. So sometimes like a block in the back is unnecessary. Like we had one penalty last year. Trail Madison's about to score a touchdown, a kickoff return, and then one of our guys just blocked in the back for no reason. Just gotta be a smart football player sometimes. There's nothing we can really do. It's about on the players essentially. It's just gotta be smart and know what not to do and when not to do it. And so really you gotta drill that in practice a little bit here and there. But really just having football IQ, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like, their credibility and stuff like that kind of puts into jeopardy, play in and play out. You get a little jabbering with, the other guy on the other side of the field. And, you just kind of have to know. You as a player to know of this as well. There's a limit. Yeah,
there's always a limit. Like if you can see yourself on film talking trash, like you're helping bobbing up and down, like going all that stuff, like you're doing too much. Like you're going to come on the sideline sit by me. So we'll try to cut that out, limit that this year, and just kind of just play football and have fun. So
the approach on defense still to kind of rotate guys in the way it's been in the past, or I know that was something big for you to give guys experience.
Yeah, so I try to rotate a little bit here and there because we got some guys that can play a lot. So we got kind of 2 or 3 deep in some positions. So especially D-line. So D-line, we got to try to keep the D-line fresh. Got a long game, especially when it's hot. So got to keep them fresh, rotate guys in and out. And same in the secondary, just got to keep them fresh because the long drives and all that, like they run like 3 fades in a row. They're tired, they need a break for here and there. So just kind of like try to get everybody in, see what they can do, and then kind of more later on in the season, that's kind of when the rotation kind of cuts down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I guess one question I do have for you amongst, you can say a returner or a newcomer or something like that, but a guy that's kind of been, an unsung type of player for you so far, whether they've been here a while or just in their first few weeks on campus. Who's really been that for you guys this fall?
I'd say probably the Frank, Kanan, and Jess and those guys. They've been kind of a guy we can lean on and always count on to be great leaders. Same James Goff. Those kind of guys, they've been kind of just stepped up into that role and just been a role model to the younger guys and kind of just led the charge on and bringing energy every day practice, kind of just doing the little things right and kind of just being good role models for everybody, making my job a lot easier, I can say. So I appreciate those guys a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, that's at the end of the day when you're down X amount of points on the road, wherever, and you need something good to happen. It's the spark from those guys that can move the needle more than a lot of times.
Exactly. So yeah.
Kind of looking at some of my other notes here for if we get into the Sterling type of things. This team's, it's got a pretty good mix to it. If you had to get a percentage, I try to think, newcomers versus returners versus guys that were here just, for last year and then they're back for us as a sophomore, et cetera. It's like 50-50, it seems like.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty close 50-50 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what what it's going to be like, and I'm sure there's a lot of people from the outside looking in thinking, okay, this year is a year that you have to take, and run with. I mean, it's got to be a big season for you guys, not just for them as players and as you as coaches, but just for the program overall. People want to know where's this thing headed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know you guys don't necessarily think about things like that. You're too busy.
Yeah. Just try to get better each day and win every day. So. Yeah, so we got a great young class. So we brought in close to 40 to 50 freshmen. We got a lot of talent in that group. So you'll see some of them play this weekend. They kind of came in and learned the playbook kind of quick, and then just kind of adapted and learned to the culture and all that stuff. So, man, they've been a big help on and off the field. They just gotta kind of not used to getting up at 6 a.m. weights every once in a while, so they kind of been late every once in a while. But they're getting it down, and then we're just excited for the young guys, kind of learning from the older guys. So it's really helpful with that kind of old in a lot of key spots. So kind of just staying at the practice with the older guys, learning the technique and all that stuff. So seeing that kind of going the extra mile to help the younger guys has been pretty special. So I'm excited for the young group.
If you've been waiting for the break, we're not doing it this time. But I mean, that's a great thought to think about. Just heading into your first game of the season. It's so much a mental game. And where are you at? When you do something wrong, how do you respond? It's how do you get up when you get knocked down? That is the motivation, I guess, behind everything.
Exactly. Yep.
But the Threshers take on the Sterling College Warriors for their first game of the season. And Sterling, from the Bethel division, last year was a rough year for the Warriors under Coach Jackson. Of course, he exits out the door this offseason, and Reggie Langford, the former quarterback of the program, promoted from offensive coordinator to the head coach for Sterling College. And and that does present some things that are interesting schematically, as well as having Coach Schultz there as a defensive coordinator. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But, amongst some of their key returners, you've got guys like Ryan Stuckey, who's a junior from nearby here, Sedgwick, looking at other things, but mainly defense. You got Flynn Cameron on the defensive line, a big guy from Australia, and looking at Dexter Walker Jr. in the defensive backfield, Hunter Pullen at linebacker. They've got some guys coming back, and you really feel like they have something to prove themselves. You talk about that with any team, really. But, look at the statistical categories from last season. They were at the bottom of the division on almost every single thing. Yeah. And, it's teams that have so much room for improvement can be really scary at times. You just don't know what to expect, especially first game of the year.
Yeah, for real. So, yeah. Man, Coach Schultz, I know he got him right over there on the defensive side of the ball, man. We worked together the past 2 years. Man, he's a hard worker. When anything, we were co-DCs together, so we put the game plan together. I know we have a great game plan against our offense. So I'm excited to see how Coach Den and Coach Schultz go at it in the game. So we did a lot last year in a couple of years of practice. We scrimmage every once in a while. So it's been fun. Just ready to see how that translates on the Saturdays now. So really just ready. And then I forgot to mention Brendan Sanders is the corner coach.
Yep.
The DB coach over there too. So he was our starting corner the past couple of years. So he brings that aspect over there. Kind of hopefully I didn't teach him too much. So
I mean, he was an All-American here, so, he's got some good knowledge to him. But we miss him definitely. And a lot of the guys that have exited the program and gone who knows where with their graduation and whatnot. Yeah, I mean it's kind of interesting to see where everybody goes along those lines. But Sterling, they have somewhat the similar personnel to what they had last year. I saw some recognizable names and things like that, kind of looking at roster, depth chart kind of things. But definitely want to make their mark any way that they can. Last year, it's been a while since there's been a really close Sterling-Bethel game. I think it has to go back, before you were even here. It was 2019, my first year, when it came down to the wire, and Chance Scurry ended up scoring the game-winning touchdown for Bethel in a home game that day. But should be an interesting one at Sterling. Always, a kind of interesting place. Just a personal note, it's one of my I don't want to say least favorite, only because it's really hard to get reception out there
that is true.
Get game updates, stuff like that. So that's my only criticism, but it is kind of its own world out there in Sterling. And, I know you don't know as much about it as, say, Denton would.
Yeah, Denton. He knows all about it. He's famous over there. Every time we go over there, it's like he talks to everybody, he meets everybody. It's just funny, like how he's a Sterling alum. He's a famous Sterling alum over there. everybody calls him Denton, like Famous Denton or something like that. It's just he knows everybody in Sterling, so it's pretty funny to go see him in action. So
if they start putting T-shirts with his face on it that say Famous Denton, I think I'll believe you a little bit more.
I wouldn't be surprised. Trust me, I would not be surprised.
But of course, playing on a grass field is always interesting over there in Sterling. It's kind of a novelty nowadays, which I remember when I was playing on turf was a novelty back in the day. So, I mean, that dates me a little bit, 16 years ago. But, always interesting. But, it's kind of hard because you coached with these guys, and they're on the other side, and, there's some schemes that are kind of similar. You guys know a little bit of what each other tries to do. I guess it all just comes down to execution.
Who can run it better? Who can stop each other? So that's what all it's about.
And I'm not saying, it's a Spider-Man meme where you're pointing at each other kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. I'm sure there's wrinkles here and there that, both of you are trying to, put into the thing. Maybe it's changing a name of something. And
something like that. We'll see. We out there calling the same calls. We're going to be like, we got to change something up after the game. At halftime, we're going to make a whole new call. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure for Bethel and Sterling. Again, a 6 o'clock kick. You can watch it on the KCAC network. The Sterling crew, I believe Scott Hogan was their play-by-play guy, and if I'm not mistaken, is back for this other season. And he does a great job. He actually does the Kansas high school Friday night games for Cox 22 every now and then, so on cable. So he's a good guy, really knowledgeable guy, and a respectable guy from my point of view, being a 6-year guy in the conference now.
Yeah, dang.
But we have a lot of turnover in the broadcasting booth, I guess you could say as well. But I mean, when you look at Sterling and you guys, it'll be interesting to see when it really happens. I mean, there's so many things that you could look at that could happen in a game, be ready for, right off the bat. And, it starts when right at coin toss. I mean, it really does. And then you look at weather circumstances. Oh, my goodness. It wasn't the last time we played at Sterling, but, maybe 2 times ago when, I don't know if you were here for that, Daylon, but there were so many cramps.
Oh,
they ran out of ambulances for Rice County.
Yeah, that was crazy. That game was long, to say the least.
Yeah, and I just remember all the blurry footage I got from that night. So, and that's all I remember. But it is. So if you can't watch it, come on out to Sterling. I know for the students, they have an incentive now where it's even cheaper for them to get into the games on the road. It's like $2.
They got to bring their IDs, and it's like $2 or $3. Yeah. So
So if you have a Bethel student, or if you are a Bethel student, head on out, and if you have an ID, things like that. But it should be a great matchup here in the first game of the season between Bethel and Sterling. And I kind of wanted to run over some numbers for the folks that are kind of new to Bethel football about some of the, the guys that have come back for this season before I get too deep into this week's schedule and we talk about games in the conference. But mentioned DJ specifically rushing for 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns last year. And not to mention, he threw the ball for 1,000 yards at the same time, and 1,100 yards and 15 touchdowns, things like that. And the quarterback room is kind of interesting between Ben Schmidt and Ethan Cook, and guys that are really, really battling and to be in that conversation. The only thing I think I noticed from last year, from the year before with DJ, was just a little bit more interceptions. That's about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he is constantly getting better. Whether it's I know he spent a lot of time with over the last calendar year, working with Coach Cagle and getting better as a passer by any means. And as somebody who went out and just warmed up and caught footballs last year at Bethany with him, I have no idea how he can grip those mud footballs that he has.
He likes them like that. I don't understand it either. I don't get it.
I'm like, you're embarrassing me out here. I'm out here running routes, and I'm like, what is the problem? I'm used to some grip.
Yeah, there was no grip on those balls.
Yeah, I remember telling him I was I was like, man, your receivers have to wear gloves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a mandatory.
Yeah.
Better tell your H-backs and your or tight ends that as well.
Real.
So, and then kind of coming back, obviously the running back room completely open for you guys. Trayvon Madison can be a factor in the jet sweep option and type of things. You lose so many key guys from last season. It's not even funny because you miss those guys heavily.
Yeah.
But Trayvon Madison, 32 catches last season for 555 yards and 9 touchdowns. Last year he was a deep threat several times in moments in games. Last year I'm thinking McPherson, Sterling, not to mention, just his ability, the Evangel game last year, he's just making these insane grabs.
Yeah.
I think there was one at Tabor where he went out on a flat and then just, went on all fours into the end zone, like his knee didn't go down. And, he would not be denied last year for the Threshers. And then again, you had outside of him, Larry Cherry coming back for you guys, and statistically, he's the next guy up, and that's 8 people down.
Yeah, so we got a lot of new faces on that side of the ball. So,
but last year, Tate Siebold, 78 tackles, 8.5 for loss, 2.5 sacks for the Threshers. A year ago, Roderick Edwards was a big factor tackling, 31 tackles in the defensive backfield, interception, broke up 8 passes for the Threshers. Robin Neely, 26 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 6 breakups. It's funny because we're talking about breakups and interceptions. A lot of those breakups should have been interceptions last year.
For both of those guys, yeah, they probably led the nation in pass drop picks. I call them drop picks. I don't call them pass breakups. So when they hit them in the hands, they drop it. That's a no. I don't get it. We do catching drills every day, and they never drop it. But in the game, they just want to get PBUs, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I remember there was a Madden game where there's John Madden would jump on and say, or there's a reason he's a defensive back.
Oh, yeah, there's a reason they're defensive backs for sure.
Yeah. It's not like Deion Branch is out there, kind of from back in the day.
Yeah, for real.
But, so many guys back for you guys. And it's great to see defensively. I'm excited for what the season has in store. So many guys probably due up for the Threshers that have just kind of been biding their time and, getting better and better every day. Unsung heroes that are looking to make their name, in the books, basically. Yep. So let's go through the conference schedule here this week as the Bissell division is hosting the Kessinger division across the board this week. Mostly similar game times except for 2. At 1 o'clock, Avila is hosting Bethany this week in Kansas City, Missouri. So the Avila Eagles and Bethany Swedes going at it. Avila, of course, looking to improve upon last year. It was kind of a step down from them versus the year before. But Bethany is a program that, there's nowhere to go but up for them. By any means. And then you guys and 3 other games at 6 o'clock. So you guys are at Sterling. And then Tabor hosting McPherson should be an interesting one. McPherson probably, probably hasn't had a lot of respect as far as heading into this season. You got Tristan Zabo back for yet another year. A good passing quarterback. You guys had a great game plan against him last season. But then, Tabor is kind of, you don't know who they're going to be week to week sometimes.
Yeah. They run a lot of stuff over there, so they're fun to plan against, but they run a lot of crazy stuff. So
yeah, well, that'll be in Hillsboro, Wayne Stadium at 6 o'clock. McPherson at Tabor. A lot of McPherson natives on the Tabor squad as well. St. Mary hosting Friends up in Leavenworth. Falcons making the trip all the way up there, and we'll see what happens with that. St. Mary, they had top quarterback, running back, receiver, preseason all division.
Mm-hmm.
As far as some of that recognition. So, I mean, who knows what they're going to be like? It sounds like they're going to be a lot better.
Yeah, they were having some talent over there for sure. I think the quarterback was hurt a little bit when he played us last year, and they didn't have that receiver. So, I'm excited to get him at full strength next week, and then I guess next week we play him, St. Mary. So, just excited to get everybody at full strength this year, so we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. And Ottawa at 6 o'clock hosting Southwestern. Should be a pretty good game as well. Ottawa going to the playoffs last year. They won their division, and Southwestern everybody's wanting to see what they're going to be like this year. They have a great coach in Coach Griffin, but they started the season off great through division, the inter-division play, and then when they got into the division, that's where it kind of got a little hectic for them. Dropping games in a row, and it was very tough circumstances for them. But the Threshers winning on a game-winning touchdown late last year in Winfield, and that's it. The final game at 6, and then at 7 p.m., Kansas Wesleyan hosting Evangel, which should be a great game.
Yeah.
K-Dub, they're a different team every semester. That's one thing that's been the proof of over the last 5-6 years, probably beyond that, in that program for the Coyotes and Evangel. Probably should be a little bit more respected by the national media for what they did to the conference last year. But no, they're a very well coached team. They have dudes they have dudes ready for everything, and they recruited really well. I know they got a quarterback from Texas that was highly rated, and I'm like, he's going to NAIA.
Yeah.
That was my reaction from it. So
that should be one of the better games of the weekend, I think. So there.
Yeah. Well, I'm personally keeping my eye on Ottawa Southwestern and KW Evangel, but physically I'll be keeping my eyes on the Threshers
definitely
and the Warriors here in the first game, week 0 of the 2024 season. If you weren't ready for it, well, here it is nonetheless. So it should be an exciting one. So the Threshers come home technically for their second game, but it's a week 1 game, how that works in the NAIA ranks, and they will be at home following the game at Sterling. They'll host St. Mary here in North Newton. Well, Coach, any final thoughts before we turn you loose and your guys out there and go after this first game?
And just excited. I mean, we've been hitting on each other for 2.5 weeks. I know the guys are tired of hitting. They're ready to hit somebody else. So just roll on, baby. Let's go. Let's have some fun at Sterling, man. Let's have a party on the field. So come out and support.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, this has been an interesting first show with you. We've talked from time to time, off the field and things like that, and I've witnessed some things, but you were right in the right for most of the time. So I will say that much. But for Coach Daylon Markham, I'm Dan Page for this first episode of the 2024 season, telling you to roll on.